So what do you call a man who finds joy in suffering? Who sees the starvation of children not as a tragedy, but as a tactic? Who stains entire people with the label of terrorist, not for what they've done, but for who they are? A man who is the embodiment of hate in a suit and tie, preaching cruelty behind the mask of patriotism. You call him grotesque, you call him deranged, you call him evil. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the huge displeasure of introducing Randy Fine. Randy Fine is a grotesque excuse for a human being and a disgrace to the Jewish religion. A former casino executive and a self-proclaimed Zionist, Fine rose quickly in politics, gaining notoriety within Florida's Republican Party. He is loud, divisive, and very much a staunch supporter of Israel. On November 26, 2024, he announced his candidacy with a message on X that would immediately go viral. The Hebrew hammer is coming. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar might consider leaving before I get there. Hashtag bombs away. To many, this was just the beginning. The post wasn't just a campaign announcement, it was a declaration of ideological war. So who are Rashida and Ilhan? Well, Rashida is the first Palestinian-American woman elected to Congress. She has been an outspoken advocate for Palestinian human rights and critical of Israeli military actions. Ilhan is the first Somali American and one of the first two Muslim women in Congress. She has also been a vocal critic of US foreign policy in the Middle East. Both women serve on important House committees. Both are American citizens, and both have been repeatedly vilified for their Muslim identity and pro-human rights positions. Fine's warning said they should leave before I get there was more than bravado. It was a thinly veiled threat. He calls himself the Hebrew hammer. He's more like the Hebrew heffalump. During the 2023 conflict in Gaza, Fine tweeted pictures of Israeli artillery shells inscribed with his name, stating, "Regards from Randy Fine." And now his infamous hashtag bombs away quickly became his online signature, stamped onto nearly every post where he praised Israeli airstrikes or mocked Palestinian suffering. When asked how does he sleep at night and presented images of deceased Palestinian children, he simply replied, "Quite well actually, thanks for the pic." This man has absolutely no morals. In October 2023 he tweeted, "There is no suffering adequate for these animals. May the streets of Gaza overflow with blood." In May 2025, when seeing pictures of starving children in Gaza, he tweeted, "Hey Muslim terrorists, cry harder, hashtag starve away." But he doesn't just restrict his sickening comments to the death and suffering of Palestinians. Oh no. In late 2024, Turkish-American activist Ayşenur Evgi was killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank. Fine tweeted, "Throw rocks, get shot, one less hashtag Muslim terrorist." When American reporters were killed in Israeli bombing, he gave the following response to a Facebook post. "US reporters were killed in that building that was bombed. Is that okay with you?" He simply replied, "Yes." After winning his congressional seat in April 2025, Fine tweeted, "AIPAC's fastest endorsement ever. They had me for free." He was suggesting that he didn't receive any funding from AIPAC. However, campaign finances reveal that over $126,000 in contributions were paid from pro-Israeli political action committees known as PACs, raising questions about the influence of such funding on his political positions. Does he represent Israel or does he represent the US? While still a state legislator in 2024, Fine proposed legislation to blacklist any country recognizing Palestinian statehood, including Ireland, Spain and Norway, likening these countries to Iran and North Korea. He also attempted to ban Palestinian flag from state property, referring to it as a terrorist rag.
Any type of facilitation, that was...
Good, you're done too. Next, 30 seconds.
Yeah, 30 seconds is disgusting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Come on up. Enjoy your terrorist rag. Come on, let's go. You're next. Come on. What's your name? I'm the chairman. I can say what I want.
But it's not just the Palestinian flag he wants to ban. Black Lives Matter flags, LGBTQ flags, they're all in his crosshairs. But at the same time, Fine prominently displays the Israeli flag in his congressional office while sitting on his big fat ass. Despite his strong support for Israel, public records indicate he's got no family ties to the country. His Jewish identity is religious rather than national. This raises questions. Why does a US congressman prioritise the interests of a foreign nation over his constituents? Is this stance driven by campaign contributions, personal ideology, or other factors? His finest hour was during an interview on Fox News when he called for Gaza to suffer the same fate as Hiroshima, comparing the Israel war to World War II. It seems this man has not 1 ounce of humanity in his bones.
The fact of the matter is the Palestinian cause is an evil one. Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the only end of the conflict is complete and total surrender by those who support Muslim terror. In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here.
In a world drowning in humanitarian crisis where innocent lives are shattered daily, shouldn't elected leaders stand as fierce defenders for human rights? For every single person, everywhere? Instead, we get a man whose cruelty makes the harshest figures like Smotrich, Netanyahu and Ben-Gvir seem gentle by comparison. A man who openly calls for bombing of civilians, using starvation as a weapon, and chillingly almost celebrates the killing of US citizens, simply because they showed compassion for the people of Gaza. With people like him holding power, it's a heartbreaking truth that humanity itself is being bought and sold and discarded like cheap commodity. And shamefully, we're all letting it happen.